Okay, guys, hopefully you can hear this clearly enough. Alright, so here we are. We're at our craft project, and some of the things we've went over already was the importing files here, making our compositions, right, and making our masks out of each segment here. Okay, one part we kind of went over really quickly is getting the antennas out. Let's go over that right quick. So we've been using the clone tool, and it comes up as an FX right here, which can be useful to turn off if you're having performance issues. In case you need to scrub back and forth to see your animation. Alright, and so just to go back over the cloning tool to take out these antenna, I'll double click on this segment, which is double clicking on this layer, my right claw, which is named appropriately down here. And I already have it in the dual view setup. Oh, hold on. Excuse me, that's right. This is another tab that I've already brought over. Excuse me. So click and drag on the right spot. Let's see. There we go. All right. Defaultly, it should come up like this. And what I'm going to do, like I did before, is brought it over to the side here. So it'll be side by side. All right. Now that we have that in here, what I can do, what I've already done, is go up here to my clone tool, right up here. All right, press and hold Alt to figure out which space I would like to clone. Then I'll click there, I'll go here. All right, and then I would brush this out. Now, since I've already done this, turn back on my effects for the right claw. There we go. So I've already done this. I've already buffed this out. Let me do it real quick. Yeah. Delete that. All right, so I pick this spot right here, press and hold Alt, click, and then I can just kind of brush through using this space here. You can see a crosshair pop up. I'll let you know which space you're borrowing from to put in this new texture over the antenna here. All right, there's nothing to it. Comes up as an effect. Again, turn it off for performance issues. Once I'm done with that, I can close out of this window and apply it to every layer needed to clear out these antenna here. All right, once it's nice and clean, you have all your layers, anchor points in place. So the back of the shell anchor point right here, and the arm right here at the joint, the claw right about here at the joint, claw right about here at the joint, so on and so forth. And we can move on to animating. And for the animating part, I went ahead and darkened or made the background a little more transparent so I can see more of what I'm animating. So before, unlock this, make sure this is the right layer. 4 is at 100 opacity, right about there. It's kind of hard to see the limbs and everything. So I just turned that down, about 22%. Alright, once that's in place, so I don't accidentally click and grab onto the palm tree here, just went ahead and locked it. Okay, and next part is now if our puppet's all connected, you can see your parent and main column right here, it's all connected correctly. Should be able to move the body and everything moves with it. I've already did some really quick animation on the body and the legs. So if I play it through, so we've got some basic movement in the legs, basic movement in the body, and also the back kind of responds to the movement of the legs. And so the body's movement for the whole puppet is just down and using scale to add a sense of uh, perspective here. You can see the tree is smaller at the top, bigger at the bottom. So as the crab moves down the tree or up the tree, it's up to you. The crab will get larger or smaller correspondingly. Alright, so what I'm going to go through is animating a little bit of the claw here so you can see the process. Alright, so just going to sort of make it wiggle. Let's say like open up and come back close together again. Something really subtle. We only have so much range of motion considering these are just masked um, parts of the same picture. So there's some there's some significant gaps in here. So really subtle movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this one. Alright, and it's mainly rotation. The body is pretty much the only one where you can mess with rotation and position, but everything else is mainly rotation here. Maybe some sizing issues if you want to work with depth of field a little bit, but it's not. It's not required. Excuse me. Alright, so left shoulder, I'm going to hit R, layer selected, the rotation to pop up, and make sure my slider's in the right position. I hit the stopwatch next to rotation, start the keys off for the shoulder part. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is, excuse me for the blurry playback, the machine can only handle so much, streaming, After Effects, and then playing back. Um, so after he starts, we're gonna have it widen up real quick and then slowly go back together. It should emphasize his movements a little bit. So the first keyframe's right here. Alright, let's say he stops right about here at 15 seconds. So early on, just gonna rotate this outward a little bit. Alright, it comes to a stop here. Bring it back just a little bit. Right up there. Bring it down. And kind of have it settle in place. Alright, I'm going to do the same with this shoulder. And finding my list, right shoulder. R for rotation. Bring my slider back to the beginning. Hit the stopwatch down here. Alright, this is organic movement. I'm not too worried about matching it up with all the other legs and the other claw here, so I'm just going to eyeball where expands outwards. Alright, and right before it comes to a stop, bring it in. Then settle into place. All right, not too bad. This is a little smaller, so instead of -7 in that direction, let's call it -4. Now if you need to adjust a certain keyframe, make sure your slider is right on top of it by clicking, dragging, and then holding Shift. And it'll take you right to the exact keyframe. It keeps you from having double keyframes right next to each other. You get a lot of odd artifacts in your animation there. Okay, that's good enough for me. Let me move on to the next part. Start working with these what I call arms. So with the right arm, same thing. Stopwatch. Action and time sliders on that first keyframe. Get that first keyframe. All right. Alright, so this would be some secondary motion. It kind of flows with the shoulder here. Right here. Okay. Twist the other way here. This is hopefully going to come out to be something of a little bit of a flopping motion of his arms. Alright, so where it turns out, bring it to the beginning, it's spacebar. Okay. Alright, very subtle. That'll work. Alright. Perhaps have naturally limited ranges of motion anyway, so we'll work with that. Alright, and then same thing for the claw here. Close that. Rotation, frame 1, stopwatch. And then just a little bit. And now set it a little bit. Alright, cool. And move over to this arm. Same thing. Close this out, find in my list. R for rotation, stopwatch. See if I can exaggerate this one a little bit more. I'm just sort of paying attention to the outline here. The image is really hard to read. Over a bit. Alright, cool, cool. And the left claw here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start making tweaks after I have my basic keyframes in there. I'm gonna go back to shoulder and start exaggerating these guys a little bit more. I'm gonna pull back on this one a little bit. Alright, cool. So yeah, just adding keyframes to every piece here. It gives it a little bit more life, right? It adds a little bit more to it. So also we've gone to the legs, especially these parts, and extending them out. So we can go with the leg motion, be a flowing leg motion here, with these parts as well. Alright, so we want everybody to practice and then have some progress ready for Thursday. Let's go ahead and add in some keyframes on each one of these parts, right? And get that walking feel, walking down the palm tree aspect here. You ready to present? And have some questions ready if need be. All right, and I'll see you guys Thursday. All right, take care.